Good morning, everyone. Inside of your chant books, you will find the bell chant that we are doing this morning. It's the Great Bell Chant, The End of Suffering by Thich Nhat Hanh. I invite you to join in chanting. It's great to hear your voices engage in this with me. May the sound of this bell penetrate deep into the cosmos. Even in the darkest spots, living beings are able to hear it clearly, so that all suffering in them ceases. Understanding comes to their heart, and they transcend the path of sorrow and death. The universal Dharma door is already open. The sound of the rising tide is heard clearly. The miracle happens. A beautiful child appears in the heart of the lotus flower. One single drop of this compassionate water is enough to bring back the refreshing spring to our mountains and rivers. Listening to the bell, I feel the afflictions in me begin to dissolve. My mind calm, my body relaxed. A smile is born on my lips. Following the sound of the bell, my breath brings me back to the safe island of mindfulness. In the garden of my heart, the flowers of peace bloom beautifully. We will return to noble silence until service begins. During this time, please use it as a way to connect with single-pointed concentration before service begins. At this time, I'd like to invite up our folks who are doing the incense offering. And inside of your booklets, you will find the incense offering chant that we will say together. And together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. And we bow. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. A few reminders before we start service. If you need to use the restroom, there's bathrooms just on the other side of that curtain. There's also a restroom downstairs. If you need a glass of water or something to just kind of quench your thirst because allergies suck, there are little paper cups, I think, just inside there, and there's a sink, or you can make your way downstairs and use one of the cups down there. We ask that if you are going to move around the temple space to use the back walkway, just from the perspective that we've got folks viewing online. So we want to keep this open for them for viewing. I think that's everything, 'cause I don't think we have any kids here today. Otherwise, we'd normally remind them that there's a nice space downstairs, and some toys and things that they can play with and some books to read. At this point, let's go ahead and stand up and say hello to each other. Inside of your booklets, I believe it's on page 7, we're going to chant the 3 refuges, followed by the Heart Sutra. And just a reminder to breathe some life into it. Try to read the words like you're reading them or chanting them for the first time, and see how you can embody them in a different way. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And we bow. And just on the next page, page 8, we are going to chant the Heart Sutra. So something that I've learned in my tradition is there's usually one person that is leading the chant, and that's known as an Hussein. Okay? And you want to kind of follow that pace, listen into them, but at the same time, we're all trying to keep kind of a medium volume, so we're all kind of chanting together. In this particular sutra, we don't want to chant it like a funeral dirge, which is really tempting to do, especially for those of us who come from the West in a maybe kind of a more Christian or Judeo-Christian tradition. Kind of like to make him sad. So let's do it with some life and some love and some joy in our heart. Dhammaha Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of Prajna Paramita perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but Prajna Paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in Prajna Paramita, attained the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the Prajna Paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the Prajna Paramita. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para, gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Dhamma Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra. And we bow. All right. Let's take a seat. Okay. So many papers up here. All right. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming and being here and taking the opportunity to listen to Dharma on a Sunday when likely everybody else is camping or, enjoying other kinds of worldly pleasures, which not to say that we shouldn't, because absolutely go and enjoy those things. That's the point of our practice, right? But I'm just grateful that you're all here. So today I'm going to be talking, I'm focused on a portion of chapter 8 from Shanti Deva's well-known text, The Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And there was something that one of my teachers had pointed out, and it really blew my mind. And we have a Bodhisattva class that is nearing the end of their study of this text. And this is one of the chapters that we discussed yesterday in our meeting. So I thought it would be appropriate to kind of dig into this a little bit, because it was really wow, this gave me a new perspective on how to think about this chapter in the book. And so in this chapter, this is the chapter that's focused on meditation. And he talks about the importance of why meditation is important for the practice of being a bodhisattva and for developing bodhicitta, right? Now, bodhicitta is that wish, right? The wish to help others wake up. And it's defined by Maitreya as the wish to achieve total enlightenment for the sake of others. Okay? In Tibetan, it's pronounced Semke Pani Shandun Chir Yang Dak Dogpe Jangchub De. Had to practice that a lot. But you learn the nuances of how to memorize those kinds of things. So first, I wanted to point out the Buddhas on the dais. There's something about their eyes that all three of them have, and this is pretty standard for Buddhist statues. Does anybody notice what it is about their eyes that is in common? Or maybe you noticed in your own statues at home or in other temples or in other places. Yes? Actually, if you get close, they're not. They're opened. Yeah. So you'll notice that Buddha always has just a slit open. And, various people will give you various reasons to why that is. But my favorite one is when a teacher had said that it's so that they're always looking on the world with compassion. They're really embodying that bodhisattva wish. And, when you think about it, why meditate, right? When we're thinking about meditation in becoming bodhisattvas, why do we really meditate? This is really what Shantideva is trying to get us to investigate. When you think about doing something to help all other beings, why meditate? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So this is like an open question. There is no wrong answer, by the way. There is no wrong answer. You can have whatever's wherever you are in your practice. You can't be of much help to others if you're drowning in yourself. Yeah, I'd say that's a good reason to meditate. What are some other reasons why we meditate? Yes. To create space. become aware of my thoughts, to let go. And I know the microphone, I didn't tell the tech person to like get the microphone ready. So I'm just reiterating your answers for those online. But yeah, that's it. Find peace. Right. All right. I think I'll stop there. I'm sure there's also some other great answers. Now, Shantideva brings this up for a reason. And we might be familiar with that thought in our own practice of, man, if I don't get my meditation in today, then, right? Is anybody familiar with that in their own practice? Yeah. So what Shantideva does is he begs the question, who are you really meditating for? Is it for you or is it for others? And when you're meditating, what exactly are you doing? Right? And Master Kamalashila, who came a couple years before Master Shantideva, is well known for teaching the 9 stages of meditation or single-pointed concentration, shamatha, which we'll be having a class on in August if you're interested in joining that. But we think about this motivation, right? So when we're looking at our motivation for our meditation, sometimes it's like, okay, well, I got to transform myself. I've got to sit down. I've got to practice. If I don't do this thing, I'm not going to get any better at it, right? You don't become an Olympian swimmer by just hopping in a pool one day and being like, I'm an Olympian now, right? It takes time. It takes practice. It takes putting in the effort. It takes developing the perfections, the paramitas. And so what I appreciate about what Shantideva is doing is that he's constantly checking himself to see where his motivation really lies. Why am I meditating, right? And so what he points out is that it's really easy to get caught in our self-cherishing, right? Convincing ourselves, no, I really am doing this for other beings, right? But are you? If you are suffering, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for you or are you doing it for them? And this is why I love Shantideva, because he's always presenting us with these like mental gymnastics that we have to kind of move around and digest. And so how do we connect this practice of meditation to boundless compassion, to that wish to wake up for the sake of all beings so we can help them? Why would Master Shantideva tell us that meditative concentration is a door to developing this compassion of a bodhisattva? And so let's think, how do you develop single-pointed concentration? And so according to the instructions of Master Kamalashila, the first thing to do, step number 1, is to overcome laziness and get your butt on a cushion, to do the thing, right? To sit down, not be like, oh yeah, I'll do it later. Oh, I woke up too late because I had a long night and, you know, story after story after story. It's to do the thing, right? Now, the next thing is you have to know what you're staying focused on. And in Master Kamalashila, it's usually single-pointed concentration on the breath, right? And so as you put your mind on that breath, when we think about all the other obstacles of meditation, what is taking your mind off the object? What's pushing your mind off that object? Is it thoughts of others or is it thoughts of yourself? Oh, I have that thing to do the other day. Oh, I said that thing to somebody and it's really bugging me. Or whatever else is coming up. Who's it really about? Is it about you or is it about them? So Shanti says it's because we fill our minds with thoughts of ourselves. But no, I'm a bodhisattva. Well, consider if you checked your mind every single 5 seconds for a whole day, for 24 hours, you know, what do you think would come up? How much self-cherishing is really there? And self-cherishing isn't necessarily like, yeah, I'm awesome. It's also those moments of when we beat ourselves up, when we judge ourselves, when we criticize ourselves, when we're constantly trying to say that we're not good enough. Because who are you directing it at? You. So what is the true motivation for helping someone? So when I get up early in the morning to make my girls breakfast, I convince myself that I'm waking up early to serve them, to make sure I'm caring for them, that I'm taking care of them, that they're fed, that this way, they're handled, right? But in reality, I wake up early to make their breakfast so that I can be present for my online Dharma classes. But I attend these Dharma classes to help others and to help teach others about the Buddhist teachings. But I also do it for my own enlightenment and the enlightenment of others. So who am I really doing it for? When I brush my hair, when I get dressed, and I make sure I look presentable in the mirror, who am I really doing that for? Is it really for others, or is it for me? And I'm not saying that this is wrong. I'm not saying that it's incorrect to do these things and that how somehow we have to create some kind of dualism to say that there's good and bad. It's just examining with wisdom, with intelligence. Why are we really doing the things that we're doing? And so I don't want you to come away from this and think that like spiritually you now have to have a reason to like beat yourself up. Like, oh, my practice isn't good enough. Look at me. I'm self-cherishing all the time. Like, that's not the point. It's not to make your practice an affliction. And sometimes it feels like that. The point here is that we need to investigate our intentions so we can get clear. We can get closer on how we can develop that wish to help all beings. Master Shantideva just keeps asking, who are you really doing it for? And this is how you plant the seeds to have the mind of a Buddha. So there's this book that my kids love, and it's called Little Lion Shares. I have a 1-year, well, almost 2-year-old, almost 4-year-old. And in this book, Little Lion is learning what it means to share with others. And at one point he says, mine, mine, mine. And his mother goes to him and he says, but you must learn to share, little lion. You can wait your turn. You can play with something else. You could even play together. And this is beautiful advice for a budding bodhisattva, according to Shantideva. Treat others as you treat yourself. Give yourself cherishing into cherishing others. And so the question is, are you willing to give it away? Are you willing to transform the way that your mind thinks about your suffering and instead give it beyond this seeming boundary of your own skull, this thing between your ears, to other beings? Can you dig a little deeper? And how can we stay single-pointed on this practice of being a bodhisattva? So I'm from California, and if anybody's familiar with the San Francisco Bay Area, there is a train called BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit. And as I used to travel to San Francisco, and I started traveling to San Francisco at quite a young age, by myself at the age of 14, you would experience this rainbow of humanity. If you've ever been to New York, it's similar to that. And there were times that when I was traveling as a 16-year-old girl who had previously experienced being physically assaulted by somebody in the city, that I was always on high alert, always, constantly, just really questioning and judging every single person that came and sat near me, right? And that's my own response to my own traumas, my own perceptions of the things that I've created and attached to. And sometimes when people would sit really close to me, that were those perceptions and judgments painted caution. It was my red alert going off. And in those moments, my ability to conceive of who I was helping was really limited to the very edges of my own skin. I couldn't conceive of helping anybody else because that's where my understanding stopped. Now let's fast forward 15 years. And just the other day, I heard my daughter scream and crying hysterically upstairs in her bedroom. There was nothing wrong. She's a toddler. She dropped something and all of a sudden the world's and over. But it wasn't the edges of who I perceived as me was no longer at the edges of my skin. It was now at the edges of my house. It was in all the rooms and all the walls. It had expanded because I now cared so much about this other being and what was going on in their life. And so what we ask is, where does your compassion and care for others end? Is it at the edges of your skin? Is it at the edges of your loved ones? Is it really for every sentient being that the Bodhisattva wish begs us to do? But what this proves, at least in my own understanding and my experience, is that our capacity for expanding compassion is possible, even when our mind may want to convince us that it isn't possible. And depending on the circumstances, we have unconsciously lived at various limits of who me really is. When we develop this renunciation from this perpetual suffering, we commit to that bodhisattva wish for all beings. And it doesn't come instantly. That's what practice is for. But even if we can shift just 1 degree in this lifetime, look at the trajectory it turns into. So Shantideva is asking us to give away what you think is yours. Give away your self-cherishing to others. Challenge where you can transform these seemingly normal habits into the most beautiful offerings for others. If you're familiar with all the different gathas that Thich Nhat Hanh has written, turn washing dishes into a Buddha paradise. And just give what you can. Everybody's capacity is different. We're not asking you to become Superman and go out and stop every crime that's out there. Do what's in your abilities, what's in your capacity. That is the practice of a bodhisattva. And also recognize the capacity of others, because their capacity may not be where your capacity is. And so just take a second to look around at all the other people in the Sangha. Now, whether you came here alone, whether you came here with somebody, maybe this is your first time, just take a minute to take in the humanity that's here. This wish. Who are you doing it for? And what I think is really cool is that, isn't it amazing that we all happen to be here at the exact same time out of the endless amount of eons that there has been and still have yet to be? This is one of the most beautiful experiences that my reality has to offer. And I'm not denying that life is hard sometimes. You know, the Buddha taught, what's the very first Arya truth or noble truth? Life is suffering. But love is always there too, even when it really feels impossible to find. And so meditate. Challenge yourself to look for where you are self-cherishing and where you can push that boundary to include even just one more being. Master Shantideva says to train your mind in this kind of single-pointed concentration, one that will remove the suffering of all beings. A bodhisattva isn't made overnight. One moment you are self-cherishing individual, and the next you're falling in love, or you're becoming a parent. You never know when extending that care beyond what you knew to be possible. And this is why we develop the perfections of patience, ethical living, of generosity and joyful effort. It's so that we have the foundation to support the motivation for meditation and continue to collect that necessary wisdom to liberate ourselves and others from the realms of suffering. And I say this mostly as a reminder to myself, as what these Dharma talks usually are. It's a It's not a teaching for you, it's a teaching for me too. Aim to develop the highest compassion, the one where you can't help but always see the world as beyond yourself. Be like the Buddha. And so to close, the advice that comes directly from Master Shantideva in chapter 8, and this is verses 89 through 84, or 94, 89 through 94 in chapter 8. Think of these considerations and others as well. Contemplate the benefits of isolation. Put an end to useless thoughts and meditate upon the wish for enlightenment. From the very beginning, exert yourself in the practice of treating others and yourself the same. When the happiness and the sufferings are the same, then you will care for all just as you do yourself. There are many separate parts, the hands and all the rest, but we dearly care for them all as a single body. Just so shall I work for the happiness of every different being, treating all as equal, all as one, thinking of their joy and pain as if it were my own. Suppose you object and say that your pain never hurts the body of another. Even so, your pain is something you can't bear for just one reason. You're grasping to yourself. Just so, even though it's true that suffering others feel never comes and strikes you, still it is your suffering, since you'll find them hard to bear once you grasp to yourself. I must stop the pain of others, because it's pain. It's like the pain that I feel myself. I must act to help all others because they're living beings. It's like the body that I own. And so to end, we are going to do a guided meditation on loving kindness. Anybody here familiar with the metta meditation practice? Right. And this is a version of that, but it's a little more in depth, and it's a guided visualization. Now, some of you might be like, oh, goodness, we're going to do visualizations. I can't see anything in my mind. And that's fine. So instead of connecting to a picture or what some people have is this imagination, connect to the feeling that arises in your body. Connect to the feelings that you have. And in this meditation, I'm going to be asking you to bring up a core memory of when you have experienced the most deep, limitless love, and connect with that. Really connect with that sense of unconditional love. I usually think of like the moment my daughters were born, or when my husband asked me to marry him. And you're going to have a specific elixir of loving kindness that will be what works for you. So I really identify that. And so we're going to get dug into the meditation. Can we get lights? Thank you. And before we start, please stretch. Like, we've been sitting here for a while. If you need to stand up for a second, your hamstrings might need some love, maybe those glutes. Like, be kind to your body. You need it so you can save all beings. So wherever you are, we're going to review the Master Kamala Shila's 7-point posture, technically 8-point. But you want the legs to be relaxed, folded in a way where they're not going to fall asleep. Make sure the seat bones are grounded. Your spine is held up tall. The shoulders are level with the ground. The chin is tucked just slightly and allowing that crown of the head to raise up tall. The eyes can either be closed or slightly open. If you find that you're kind of sleepy, leave those eyes just cracked a little bit to let some light in. Hands can be in a variety of positions, either folded in your lap, right hand in the left, or palms up or palms down on your knees. Allow the tongue to rest at the back of the teeth the space between the eyebrows to soften, and maybe even just a little smile to inject some joy into the practice. And take a few breaths here to just ground into your body and into your seat. Bring your attention to any spots in your body that might be holding tension, any gripping, and gently breathe into those spots, allowing them to relax. And distracting thoughts will arise. Just gently set them aside. You'll have time to contemplate them later. This is your opportunity to connect with this experience of unconditional love, a gift that some of us don't give ourselves often enough. This is going to be the time where you can practice growing your capacity for extending that self-cherishing that we have for ourselves and turn it around to cherish others. This is the most beautiful work that we can do. A few more breaths here to center the mind. Begin to draw your awareness towards the center of your heart. And just notice the pulse of your heart, that beat moving behind each breath. Observe how your lungs are gently holding your heart, cradling it at the center of your chest. Notice the way that the drum of that heartbeat and your breath move hand in hand. And now allow a memory of pure, unconditional love to arise. This rare moment, one of depth and deep understanding. And words can't describe this feeling of beautiness, of openness. Only this experience can truly sum up this kind of unconditional love. And just allow this feeling to expand to the very edges of your skin throughout your whole body. Allow that memory to begin to fade and keep the feeling. And on the next inhale, at the center of your chest, a small spark ignites. This is a blue crystalline light right in the center of your heart. And each inhale fuels its luminosity. It's warm, like stepping from the shade of a large tree into the fresh sunlight of summer. And this light, this growing light, has this power to dispel darkness from every corner of the universe. And as it grows brighter, it stretches to include your lungs, your abdomen, your arms, your legs. Every cell of your body that this light touches transforms into most beautiful, sparkling, and translucent light. And just fully immerse yourself in this feeling of healing, of love, allowing it to remove all your stress, your worries, and your pain, and instead being replaced by this boundless, unmeasurable love. Let everything else fade away. This is like the ultimate antidote for suffering. It is the ultimate door to peace. And it sweeps away all of your grasping to concepts and negative emotions without leaving anything behind, as if all of that just evaporates into thin air. And as this light comes to the very edges of your skin, you know you have this responsibility to share this incredible antidote with others. And so bring to mind a loved one, some kind of being, whether human or animal. And this person comes and sits directly across from you in your meditation posture. And you can see the pain that this person carries in their heart. And knowing that you have this cure, on the next exhale, imagine this blue light streaming from your heart and landing directly in theirs. And just as it did for you, it stretches to every cell of their body, wiping away all their darkness and pain and replacing it with wisdom, love, and joy. You get this sense of seeing all of this weight of suffering lifted from their body, refreshed, renewed. And this being comes to sit on either side of you. And between you, this light continues to grow. And so you know you have to continue sharing it. So bring to mind a neutral person, somebody maybe that you don't know very well. Could even be somebody in this Sangha, in this very room. And allow that being to come and sit in front of you. You see their suffering. And you know it can be removed. And so again, this light pours out from your heart, landing directly in theirs. And you watch their face transform, suffering gone, antidote applied, growing with every breath. And this person too comes to join you in this growing circle of beings that are being healed from this light. And this light continues to grow, fueled by the wish to see all beings free from pain and despair. And now bring to mind someone that you find challenging to love. And this person might be the one that needs it the most. And they come and they sit across from you. And instantly, like this light knows where to go to dispel that pain, it travels from your heart to theirs. And as soon as this powerful elixir of unconditional light touches them, they are instantly relieved of all of their pain. You may even see the expression on their face transform into one of bliss. For so long, we unconsciously carry this kind of pain around within us. And taking this opportunity to relieve it is more powerful than any modern medicine you could ever take. This light leaves no room for anger, fear, or any other negative emotion. And so this person comes to sit in this growing circle, and this light continues to grow, completely surrounding the four of you. And this light begins to extend out beyond the edges of the walls of the room you're in, and begins to continue traveling beyond the neighborhood. And everything, every being it touches transforms into this blue light, instantly healed. And continue to allow this light to grow, to hold your town, your city, every Uber driver, every unhoused person, every city worker and hospice worker. And this light just growing in momentum continues to include your entire state or country, every child, every parent, every grandparent. It grows to include your entire continent, every bird in the sky, every reptile, every four-legged animal, insect, and amoeba.
And it grows to include every body of water and piece of earth, healing and removing the suffering from animals that live in our oceans and on frozen land masses. And this light continues to expand outward. These healing qualities extending to every living being, to the very edges of the universe and beyond. Imagine a world filled with this kind of bliss. And having purified every atom in the known existence, this light begins to draw itself back towards your heart. And as it retracts back, it leaves everything completely healed. From the edges of the universe, back from every planet of every galaxy, our solar system to Earth, drawing from the oceans and land, everything left with this power of unconditional love. And continue to pull it back in towards your country, your city, your neighborhood, and closing in on the four of you. And gently pulling away back into the center of your heart. And this light condenses at the center of your heart into a small grain of sand and peacefully rests at the very center of your heart. And on your next inhale of your choosing, let this light dissolve into your heart center. And when we train our minds to see the world through the lens of wisdom, we have the ability to imbue our experience with the most beautiful qualities. It doesn't need to be wasted in pain and suffering. And just take a moment to practice dedicating this meditation to all beings. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings experience a life without suffering. May all beings be free. And slowly come back into your body, remembering where you are, and add any movements into your body. And whenever you feel called to, open your eyes. May bodhicitta, most precious and sublime, arise where it has not yet come to be, and where it has arisen, may it not decline, but grow and flourish ever more and more. Nagarjuna. I know for some of our Sangha, visualization practices isn't necessarily a common experience for you. In the Tibetan tradition, it's a very common experience. And it can go even deeper and longer and more intensified. But the idea is that you're really working with how your mind is perceiving the world around you, and being able to take it from this cushion and like kind of force you into the world with it. Like you have no choice. You have no choice but to love the person who's going to irritate you next, because you practiced putting your mind in a state in that place. So at this time, I know that was supposed to be a short period of meditation, but you all just got about 25 minutes, so yay. So thank you for joining me on that. Let's do a quick joys and concerns. For those of you who haven't come to Temple before, this is an opportunity to share good things in your life that we get to rejoice in you with, and also to share any challenges that you may be going through so we can hold space for you.
Hi, I have a joy. Last weekend, a longtime family friend of mine of about 10 years that we originally met as an exchange student when I was in high school, happened to be in the country and made an extra stop to visit Michigan. And we got to spend the weekend with her, and it was just lovely. It was like seeing a sister I never get to see. So it was really special.
Good morning, Sangha. Yeah, this week a brother of ours at Guiding Light was asked to leave the program, and he's overdosed twice this week, and I believe he's at Maltrotter. I don't want to tell his whole story, but like he's been very dear to me, and he's an amazing person, and I hope he finds his way. But it's a deep concern. It comes with a heavy heart, so I'd like to share that with everyone. Thank you for holding it in your heart space. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Just a quick Ben update. I haven't updated for a couple of weeks, and he's hanging in there. And I think the last time I said this, he was released from the hospital. He's living at his mom and dad's house because he needs the help. And he's just tired. He's real tired. So he said he eats breakfast and takes a nap, has lunch, takes a nap. So, but he is an amazing guy. He watches. Hi, Ben. So there you go.
I have one I'll sneak in. Just over a year ago, our son was involved in an accident. Some of you know, lost their leg below the knee. And this next weekend is planning now, after a year and a half of recovery that has been going wonderfully. This next weekend, their brother and them are taking a bicycle ride from Chicago to Grand Rapids. So they plan a 3-day trip. They're going to overnight and camp. They're all prepared for this. So this is both a joy and a great concern for the parents, but it's wonderful. So really it's, they have to get out there, and it just makes me so happy that they're able to do that through good and bad.
So I know I talked about my mom before, and her losing her dog and just not doing too well afterwards. Well, without going into too much detail, me and my partner decided last weekend that we needed to call for a wellness check on her, and it didn't go well. And she said a lot of very nasty things to me, and my mental health has kind of been in the toilet lately anyway, but I'm just worried about her. I'm kind of at a point in our relationship where no contact is probably the best way to go. And I think about her every day, and I just hope that she gets help, and also just hope that can navigate this long road ahead of healing from that situation. So thank you.
Do we have any online? No. So let's take a moment to hold space for all those joys and concerns. Quick temple related announcements. There is an online meditation group that meets on Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45 on Zoom. Contact any one of the clergy and we can point you in the right direction. There's an Avatam Saka Sutra study group on Thursdays, July 11th and July 25th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the temple. If you're interested, contact Will Allington or Juation Su, Shane Weimer, or you can also look in the newsletter to see more information. We have the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple board meeting, and Sangha members are invited to observe. Gives you a good opportunity to see what's going on with the temple, the inner workings. And that's on Sunday, July 21st at 11:30 to 1. And I believe it meets downstairs. You can also join online via Google Meets. There is a summer silent retreat coming up on Saturday, July 27th from 9 to 4 p.m. And it meets at the temple, and registration ends on July 26th. If you're interested, you can register online. There's also an introduction to meditation from the Tibetan perspective. This is like a focus on shamatha meditation. And that's on Saturday, August 10th from 9 to noon. It meets here at the temple, and registration ends August 9th. Even if you've taken this class before and just want to come and sit and meditate, come and join us. You can contact me for more information. And there's more information on the website. There's Buddhist-based recovery meetings on Mondays, 6:30 p.m. meditation, 7 p.m. meeting at the temple here. Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. at the Alano Club. Fridays, 9:05 a.m. the meditation begins. 9:30 the meeting begins, and that's at Garfield Park, the entrance off Madison Avenue Southeast near the playground area. And bring a lawn chair to sit on or join via Zoom. And I believe there is one last announcement.
I just wanted to add real quick that and or clarify that intro to meditation class is a prerequisite, I believe, for the precept class that's going to be taking place this fall. So for all those who are interested in taking the precepts, mark that intro to meditation class if you haven't had one before on your calendar.
Yeah. Or if you have and you just want to come and practice your shamatha.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name's Anna. I'd like to talk about Dharma today, which is generosity and central to our practice. I think that we're all generous with our time to come here and listen to the teachings, and our teachers are so generous with their knowledge. Everything here at the temple is run by volunteers and donations only. So if you would like to volunteer for anything, to volunteer or to be generous with your time to help run the temple, Nasanskara, Jeremy, is a good contact person to see what we need help with. If you are interested in donating any material goods, Nikki is a great person to see what actually we need at the moment. And if you're interested in a financial donation, we have a couple ways to do that. There are Dana boxes at each end where you can leave cash or a check. There's also a QR code that will lead you to PayPal, where you can set up a recurring automatic donation or a one-time donation. If you're on YouTube, there should be a drop-down that leads you also to PayPal. And on the website, zengr.org, it will also lead you to PayPal. So thank you for your generosity.
Lastly, I just want to say thank you to the tech team for being here and providing the support so we can extend this service to people online. To Chongo Su for helping set up yesterday. We were here for the Bodhisattva class and we managed to get all the cushions back out and all the chant books on the chair or on the mats and chairs. So thank you for that. And thank you to anybody else, the cleaning crew who comes in and cleans monthly, and all of the folks who are here to take care of this temple and to be a part of this space, and to each and every one of you for being here and showing up to study the Dharma, because we need more of that in the world. So with that, let's end with our gathas. And if you would like to join us downstairs for tea afterwards, love to have you. Just a reminder that as you're preparing to leave, somebody will come around and collect those chant books. And if you could just kind of rearrange the cushions and fluff them up a little bit so we leave this place the same way that we found it. And on page 9, you will find the gathas. And together we say, for all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And if this side of the room, you can turn to face this side of the room. And we bow. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday. We don't see you downstairs.